Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to this program about your Kundalini awakening. It's a beautiful day here in California. It's 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and the sun is out, and it's the last day of January. The last day of January, and it should be really, really cold outside, but no, it's sunny and a nice soft breeze, and it's almost like summertime here, whereas in places like perhaps Minnesota or Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Maine, it's probably quite cold, as in perhaps even in other places as well. I want to go ahead and read you something that was written a while back, but it pertains to today as well. This has to do with kind of with living with the Kundalini inside of a scenario that is really, full of ego. This is basically our societal scenario. So right now, as I'm in this sunny California, everybody's out and about, and people are out playing, and there's a real sense of freedom here, but it's only freedom within the auspices of the ego. So, as I'm combing through this here, I hope I can find it. Eat Louise. So, yeah. I'm going to ask my co-host to come on. Amelia, would you come on, please? And I've got to search for this thing here. So.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'm on. I'll chat here while Chrism is looking for that teaching of his from some time ago. Well, it's not a beautiful day here where I am. It's a beautiful night. And by beautiful, I don't mean calm. I don't mean, dark, starry night with a beautiful big moon. I mean overcast, raining, sleet, that sort of a night, but still it's beautiful. I'm aware that there are people from all over the world here, and I'm just going to say hi to those that are in the chat room. So hi, Tim. Tim is on my side of the world, so it's on 11 p.m. where he is. Hi, Tangira, Michelle, Andrew. It's lovely to see you all. And everybody says here that the sound is good with Chrism, and I'm hoping the sound is good with me as well. Chrism, where's the teaching?
I have it right here.
Good.
It's hard to tap dance. It's hard to tap dance. I don't blame you. Okay, here we go. Here we go. It doesn't seem to matter to your Kundalini divine how experienced or how seemingly practiced and mature a person is on the outside, as they're having their awakening. It doesn't matter. There's still areas of work that will need to be done. And as I mentioned, I think in a couple of the shows past, some karmas will not activate until a person is at a certain age, at a certain time in their life, so that the karma will match what they did to earn it. This is a very important concept to understand, because I'm going to go ahead and say that most of the Vedic teachings that I've participated with, they don't talk about that. They don't talk about karma having a temporal activation point. They talk more about, if you do these things, then your karma is reduced or your karma is redeemed. And I agree, with some of those things. But there is a temporal element. A person needs to be within a specific state of mind in order to accurately redeem specific karmas that were taken that took place within the other life of a person at a specific age, and this is something that needs to be recognized. So when a person says, well, I balanced all my karma, that some guy in Northern California, with a beard, he's just like, well, I like him like so karmic debt free, dude. I like taking care of everything, and there's nothing else that I need to do. I am so perfect. This is typical for Northern Californians. And you don't want to believe that, because there's always karma. There's always some household maintenance karmically that needs to be done. And so, while we're in the body, while we're behind the veil of forgetfulness, while we're in this working laboratory of enlightenment, vis-a-vis the Kundalini and vis-a-vis the levels of karma that we have to develop or find redemption for. You don't want to listen to people that try to convince you that they've got it all taken care of, because there's still areas of work that need to be done. And some people are going to reach a certain point of development within. And that level of development within is going to, they're going to, I've been through the Kriyas, I've been through entities, I've been through, astral projection, I can coerce people, I can do, I'm writing well, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to think that they're above the rest, or that they're more mature. I've run into this all the time. Okay. That idea of competition, that idea that, oh, I have come so far, dude, I'm just like so with it. That is just an ego identification with contemporary society's expectation of competition. We have to be, we're literally raised to be first, to be victorious, to be the Olympic gold medalist. And anybody that falls under the Olympic gold medalist, well, they gave it a good shot. It's like, oh, well, your picture's not going to be on the box of cornflakes. It's not going to be on the box of cornflakes, and the little kids aren't going to look at you while they're eating their cornflakes. It's a very, very, very distant second to the egotistic mountain of victory that the gold medal shines upon people. And with Kundalini, even having it at all in the activated or the awakened state is a gold medal, but you don't want to listen to that level of societal attitudes about how we compete with each other in making it out more than, how should I say this? The ego and the egotism will be amplified tremendously by being first or by being competitive. And a lot of people, they want to get the Kundalini simply because of that competition. They want to get Kundalini to give an edge to themselves over others. They want to have the Kundalini so that they can, as I've said before in other shows, so they can have the superpowers, so they can compete and win using these superpowers over the petty little minions that don't have it. Okay, and so this is basically a level of ego aggrandizement based upon having some good, strong inner recognition, from divine grace that they're doing some things rightly, but there is still more work to do. I've had many former students, former friends, former close partners that have been very, very positively affected by the Kundalini teachings that come through me, the writings, etc., the videos, only to have them turn around by virtue of a shadow whispered into their ear, like an entity or an ideology, or maybe even some sort of an embedded karma that they have to face at that moment, and that's being blown way, way, way into amplification by the Kundalini. And there they go, off in the distance, spewing insults and judgment based upon the amplification of the Kundalini within them and the unfinished business that they have yet to do. And, this is something that I think people really, really want to consider strongly as they go through their life within the Kundalini. It's a huge, huge deal to keep the ego in check. And it's one of the most important things that you can do. Somebody asked about this on the group the other day, and how do I recognize ego from Kundalini? And typically the ego is going to have the qualities of fear of loss or want of gain. So something in your life you're going to be afraid you're going to lose. You're going to lose prestige. You're going to lose recognition. You're going to lose your freedom. You're going to lose the identity of self that you've become so fixated and comfortable with. You're going to lose social standing. You're going to lose strength. You're going to lose health. You're going to lose all of these fears. Are all about losing something. You're going to lose your life. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your kids. You're going to lose all these things, and your life is just going to come, crashing down upon you. You're going to lose that connection that you've had to life at this point, and oh my God, it's just so fearful. And so this is what I mean when I say fear of loss. And then, of course, the other side of the coin is the want of gain. You're going to become the great sage, the great seer. You want to gain recognition. You're going to be rich and wealthy and famous, and people are going to flock to you and what else? Throw money at you. I don't know. Tell you what a great person you are, and you'll be written down in history as this tremendously powerful person, and you'll be able to levitate, and from levitating you're going to flying, and you'll be the only one who can fly. And you can just imagine how this is going to build up in the ego fantasies. This whole idea of want of gain, to be rich, to be wealthy, to be comfortable, to be happy, to matter, to be relevant to your society. This is all want of gain. And so these are typically the areas where the ego is going to come out in very, very strong, amplified areas. And it's not the same way for everyone. You can't go, look at that whole group of people over there. They're all egotistically, expressing want of gain by having a new car, by wanting to do this. And if you look at it, this just came to me as I was saying something about the new car. If you look at crime, Crime, if you look at crime and the criminal attitude, it's all about want of gain. It's want of gain. They rob the bank because they want the money. They want to gain that money. They don't want to earn it because that means that they'll lose their complacency. They'll have to work hard for it, or they'll have to do something that they don't want to do. And so, it's a loss if they have to earn it, like in an ethical way. Criminals just want to have it the easiest way possible. They want to steal it, and they don't care about, the effect it has on the people they steal it from, or the karma, or they don't care. They just want the easy gain, ease, the complacency, the simplicity, the reward of pleasure without having to earn it, except through the act of stealing it. Okay. And so this is very much the criminality in the criminal mind is very much about the want of gain. When you look at robberies or thieves or theft along that level, areas of murder, there's all kinds of stuff going on there with as far as entities and possession. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, possession is a far more common element in society than anyone would ever think. It's not all about the exorcist and green pea soup being spewed all over the camera lens. I mean, there is literally, little demons on people's shoulders giving them the urges to do some really nasty things. And if people buy into it, like that kid that shot up that theater in Colorado, the cinema, killed 54 people, and he's dressed like the Joker from Batman. So he really was coerced into really identifying with the Joker expression of Batman, the Joker, and the demons just went with that and just really, really corrupted him into totally identifying with that and wanting to kill everybody in the theater. So that's what he did. This is a very, very common element in society right now in the various ways that evil or bad things are allowed to grow and to be nourished and to happen in society. And once again, it goes right back into the fear of loss and want of gain. Okay, people want the easy way, and sometimes negative entities will offer an easy way that is really only an illusion of an easy way to get something, whether it's through theft or self-identification with a character from a movie, and that seeming feeling of greatness by identifying with, in this case, the Joker, and receiving positive self-worth ideologies and feelings from that type of a thing, or being the boss of a big company, or whatever the fantasy is of the individual. The dark forces can really begin to take that apart and to really push a person into levels of crime that you and I and everybody here have to deal with. I won't go into our current president because that's just too obvious. I'm here in the United States. That's probably obvious too. So continuing on. It's very, very, very important for people to understand that want of gain and fear of loss literally are running this world. From the unawakened standpoint, which is the vast majority of the population, are working from that want of gain, fear of loss standpoint. And it's very important for us as Kundalini people to recognize that and to look at that and say, okay, is this choice that I've made here, do I really need this new car? Okay. Wow, it's shiny, looks the chrome, it's got that beautiful color, it's really sporty looking, and it gets good gas mileage, and oh my God, I can just visualize myself driving down the freeway in this totally tricked out new car. Oh my God, it's just wonderful. But wait a minute. Do I need it? Is there anything wrong with my old car? No. Does it get good gas mileage? Yes. So why am I even looking at this new car? This is a want of gain scenario. This is wanting to be noticed by having that new car. Old car is just fine. Old car is probably still a new car anyway, and it's just fine. But the ego is saying, no, it's not enough. I need some recognition here. I need to be seen in that beautiful, beautiful, sporty car that I can afford. I can afford that. I'm not taking anything away from the rent or the kids or the wife or anybody. I can afford that. We'll just say it's that Jaguar or that Maserati, whatever the car would be. And that's an egotistical want of gain. Want of gain. It's a kind of a self-aggrandizement. I can hear the questions already. Well, is it wrong to want that new car, to want that Maserati? If the guy or the gal can afford it and nobody is being hurt by it, why not get it? Why not? Well, ask yourself why you need it. Why is it there? What does it do for you? What is attractive to you about it? Can you hear me rocking in this chair, Amelia? Did I lose? Am I talking to the air here?
No, Chrism. I have to come back into the studio when I hear questions. I go, help! And I rush over.
Sorry about that.
No, there's no sound. There's no sound. It's cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Good
Perfect.
sound,
Thank
guys.
you. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. Okay. All right. Here we go.
No worries.
So this idea of deserving recognition or deserving to have authority over the of the management of your life because you have the Kundalini or you have it in a certain state, or you still have within you that ego, because once again, we don't train you to kill the ego. This is not the death of the ego. This is a retraining of the ego, and this is why you look at yourself and in the reflection of the egotistic expression that you're having, and you make the self-correction. So you're asking yourself, well, how come the Maserati is so important? Looks cool. The chicks dig it. Yeah. The cops, they look at it. Here in the States anyway, I don't know about other places, it's like, it's a guaranteed speeding ticket. You'll die if you crash in it. There's some negatives too. And so you look to why you're doing this, and specifically because you have the Kundalini, you're questioning why you're giving in to the ego desire to have it in the first place. That's what you're doing. Somebody, still within the ego game is going, oh, yeah, totally. I have to have the Maserati because, as I pull into the parking lot, everybody will notice that I'm really successful, that I'm doing my job well, and that I'm making more and more money than they are. And so they're obviously not as good as I am because they're not making the money that I am. So I have to show that I am more competitive than they are. I have the gold medal because I have the Maserati and they do not. And so, within that milieu of social acceptability and accountability, this is typically what we're dealing with. But with Kundalini, it's a different deal. With Kundalini, you need to question that. You need to look at that and go, what am I doing here? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What is, you have to really look at that and go, okay, want of gain. How am I gaining? Am I, is it the prestige that I need? Well, why do I need that? Is it the competition? I need to look like I'm winning. Well, why do I need to look that way? Does my job depend on me looking like I'm winning? And so you look at a lot of salespeople, and a lot of salespeople work within that ideology. I used to be in sales. Back when cable television was new, during the dinosaur age. I had this job where I had to sell cable television to perfect strangers. Oh my God. And the sales force, you had to keep up with the other people. You had to exceed the other people. Exceeding the other people, well then, you were kept on as a salesperson. And if you fell back too much or too long, you were fired. That's just the way it was. And I think that's the way it is right now as well. And so people really need to look at that. It's like, well, why do I need the Maserati? Is it going to keep me employed? Well, that might be a different deal. If it's going to keep you employed, then get the Maserati. Because I want you to be able to feed your family. I want you to be able to feed yourself. I want you to be able to pay the rent, pay the power, pay the utilities. I want you to be able to have the funds that you need in order to create the environment that is best for your Kundalini. And because we're in both worlds, we have one foot in the Kundalini, the divine world. We have the other foot in the egotistical, mundane world. Well, we have to play both games sometimes. Most of the time, though, as the Kundalini, develops within the individual and they practice these self-corrections, you get more and more and more grounded in the divine world, and you begin to have a level of wisdom that's surpasses even the previous Kundalini wisdoms that you had. So, for instance, the more you give, and the more you serve, and the more you surrender, and the more you self-correct, the greater and stronger the wisdom becomes. Not just for other people, but the inner wisdom for yourself as well. The inner ideology, the inner balance between divinity and egotism, grows stronger towards the Kundalini, goes stronger towards you being that divine individual. And so you become less susceptible to having an entity whisper something in your head and then acting on that. You kind of like something whispers in your head. If you don't see the entity there, and you're not going, if you're not immediately going, oh, that's an entity. Well, then, you can be affected. But if you're self-correcting, you kind of go, well, wait a minute. Why am I thinking about my teacher this way? Or why am I thinking about my husband, my spouse, my kid, my girlfriend, boyfriend, boss, whatever? Why am I thinking this way about a perfect stranger? Why? Thought coming to me. Why is that negative thought coming to me? You need to question yourself on that and look at that source. And it doesn't matter whether you can see the entity, with your third eye. It doesn't matter if you can see the entity. All that matters is you choose not to act on that shadow whispered into your ear. You choose not to act on that. You recognize it as a shadow, and you choose not to act on it. It affects how you are. Okay? It'll change the way you are by virtue of your fears and your judgments of others. That will change. All of a sudden, if you're going into judgment a lot and you start looking at why you're going into judgment, that's going to change. You're going to be looking at things, more compassionately, more forgiving, less of a concretization of egotistic buildup and amplification because of the lack of self-correction. Now, a lot of us, we have extreme levels of passion, and these extreme levels of passion take us over in moments of stress, or in moments of surprise, or in moments of a quick repartee of response, and we begin to dig a hole that increasingly as we interact is hard to get out of. Okay, I just want you to recognize that because this is when you step in and self-correct as well. And it's harder to self-correct passionate response than it is when you're sitting here in meditation, listening to the radio going, why am I thinking that Chrism is just this big booger in my nose and I need to dig it out and flick it at my cat? What is causing me to think that? Forget about Chrism. What about my poor cat? So this will change. This will change how you are affected by your fears and judgments. And when you come into the Kundalini and you come into areas of the application of extreme grace upon you and of the detoxification, detox. So these are toxins that are leaving the system. And it's not just biological toxins, it's emotional toxins. Emotional toxins that have been there for a long time. Hidden resentments, hidden fears, condemnations of others. Racism. Racism is a great example of that, where you have, say, perhaps been raised in a family environment where, somebody was judged in a specific way by the color of their skin. And so your pattern of interaction with humanity has been modified to recognize as somebody's skin color as being important to how you perceive social interaction on this world. Okay, racism. Another thing is any level of shaming, whether it's hairstyle shaming, hair color shaming, weight shaming, job shaming, intellectual shaming, automotive shaming. I mean, there are all kinds of shaming that we could get into. But once again, I grew up in Northern California here, but I grew up in an area that was settled by the white settlers in the 1850s. And these literally were the Conestoga wagon people crossing the east, crossing the Midwest, crossing, into Arizona, the 40-mile desert people. These are the people that were dying, by contact with Indians, by contact with the environment, by contact with each other. These are the people that really, really worked hard to get out here, and they carried all of their cultural stigmatisms with them, their cultural belief systems where we're the stewards of the land, which is such bullshit. But they also brought their negative racism. They brought their greed. They brought their expectations. They brought all these things with them. And generation after generation after generation, these cultural points of reference grew and grew and grew and stayed. They stayed very active in specific regions. Northern California. Let me give you an example. Here in Sonoma County, there's a place called Cazadero. C-A-Z as in Z. C-A-Z-A-D-E as in Edward, R, D-E-R-O, Cazadero. And when it looked like during the Civil War in the United States, which happened between 1860 and 1865, when it looked like the Confederates were going to lose, certain Confederate families moved all the way out to California. They didn't have anything to do with the federal government that was in the process of conquering them and burning their houses and getting rid of their slaves and doing all the things that they didn't want to do, the whole reason why they were fighting the war in the first place. And they moved out here to Cazadero in Sonoma County. And so, generation after generation after generation, those beliefs in that area of Sonoma County are still very strong. Blacks are niggers. And, everybody should own one. And where I grew up, it was more of a Mexican, they were just like they really enjoyed saying, how do you grease a car? Well, how many Mexicans can you hit? That type of a thing. And it's an extreme level of racial negativism that really has been carried on down the generations from specific cultural ideologies that were embraced as they came over. And, the Native Americans didn't have that problem. They didn't have that problem at all. They didn't have the problem of alcoholism. They didn't have any of these things. Those problems all came with the conquering people that came over from Europe. And so these things become an influence upon our lives by virtue of the karma that we have that comes with us in the body that we develop as we are born into this world and raised by that family. So you look at all of that stuff, and then you add in, like, say, an absent father or parents that don't really care, or they don't have the ability to care because they weren't cared for and their grandparents weren't cared for, and so on and so forth, all the way back, to the time when they began to settle that land. It's the same thing with us. Now, currently we have that. And this is part of the detoxification and the purification that the Kundalini begins to put forward within us. Okay? These are the detoxifications, and in addition to the fear of loss and the want of gain, a lot of the racism and things of that nature are that's once again a fear of loss and a want of gain at the same time. You're fearing the loss of your cultural identity because of of another race that's moving in, or you're expounding upon your cultural superiority based upon your judgment of another race that isn't in dominance at the point. And so, once again, fear of loss, want of gain. It's very important for us to recognize this within ourselves, within a Kundalini continuum. We really need to look at it and to, assess our own activities based upon fear of loss and want of gain. Continuing. And this really, these detoxifications and purifications are astounding in how deep they go within us, into how deep they go into our families, how we were raised, how the families around us, our the society that we were raised in. And you can really begin to look at yourself and your family and your society in a different way, because now you're doing the self-corrections that nobody else is doing. I shouldn't say that. Some families, through just, through the karmic pendulum, people are born into families as well that don't have the racial issue, that don't have the criminal issue, that don't have, any of these things. They've matured spiritually, soulfully. They've matured their way through it. They're not to the Kundalini yet, but they're getting there by taking those steps. And so you have to look at, how fragile is an awakening that lands upon a certain plateau of grace, only to be destroyed by an exterior, perhaps a societal challenge that initiates fear or another kind of imbalance into your system. The way you protect from this is your self-correction. You look at why you're feeling a certain way. Why is that? Why am I feeling this way or that? What's going on with me there? And I mean this to be, this is a plateau of grace. It doesn't mean that you're down at the base of the pyramid. You can be, up the pyramid quite a ways, have an astounding view, of the divine world and the mundane world at the same time. But you're still here and you're still kind of going, well, how fragile is my awakening? How fragile is my activation? If I can allow myself to fall into levels of judgment, of racism, of temptation, of ease, the taking, being a thief and taking the money or whatever. If I can feel the temptation to reach for that alcohol or to reach for that drug or to reach, for something that is the short path is a great opportunity to look at this. Why do I need to do the plant path and the short path and to become awakened in 5 days? Why is that? Why am I afraid to do the long work? What's causing me to want to just do ayahuasca and marijuana and LSD and mushrooms and Syrian rue and all of these different things all at the same time, all in one night, because I want to be enlightened? Why am I refusing to just do the work inside within without having all these chemical, natural or not, attributes to push me there faster and sooner and quicker and more rapid? What happened to patience? What happened to work? What happened to learning really, really well how to swim before you throw yourself in the ocean and now you need to swim? What happened to that? So you look into that. And so how fragile is an awakening that lands upon a certain plateau of grace only to be destroyed by an exterior challenge that initiates fear or another kind of balance into your system? How fragile is your Kundalini, ladies and gentlemen? How fragile is your self-correction? How fragile is your inner discipline? How fragile is your work ethic? How fragile is your patience? How fragile is your devotion to Kundalini within you? Stuff to look at, my friends. Stuff to look at. And we all look at that. So I'm not taking myself out of this either. I constantly have to look at the way when I'm in the ego world, I'm out there like I was just, walking Inara. And I came back in, and while as I was walking with her, I'm thinking of her, and I'm thinking of how she's perceived by other people. I can feel the fear that a large German Shepherd develops within people. And so I'm very, very careful not to let her lunge at people, because she will. Oh my God, she'll challenge a motorcycle going past. I mean, literally. We're learning. We're teaching her, not to do that. But in the process of teaching her, she's still going through the moves, and so I'm very, very careful to keep her on a short leash when I'm passing people. As far as Inara is concerned, a 5-year-old child is just as suspicious as a 50-year-old person. And so, I don't let him pet her. Tika, everybody wanted to pet, and she was very good with that. But Inara's, she's much more suspicious. And so I have to look at her suspicion, and I have to look at their fear, and I have to make compassionate choices. Very, very compassionate choices. And I do. And I put myself beyond these behavioral corrections. Now I'm going to slip on over here to the chat room, make sure that not people. Okay, nobody's listening there. Okay, no, I'm kidding. And it looks like I'm going to go over and check the phones. We go, oh, we've got a couple of questions there. Indra and Ishmael have a question, or Ishmael. That's right, Ishmael. Anyway, so this is very important stuff, and so I want to continue with it. And I promise you, I will get to the questions in a little bit here. So we're looking at the fragility of our early activation or our awakening, and how fragile is the early activation that we have when we need to experience bliss all the time. So that just comes down to a pleasure-pain choice, right? Once again, fear, which would be pain, and pleasure, which would be want of gain. Fear of loss, want of gain. Fear of loss, want of gain. Once again. And Amelia, just an FYI, this would be the title of this program needs to be Kundalini and Fear of Loss and Want of Gain. Just an FYI for you, my dear. And thank you for listening. So how fragile is our equation when all we're doing is seeking the good feeling of bliss? All we're doing, the only reason we want to do the Kundalini is for the bliss. The only reason we want to do the Kundalini is because, we want to feel good. We want to have the ecstasy. We want to have an orgasm, all the time, walking around with just one big raging orgasm as we go to work, as we drive our car, as we walk amongst the other people, just one big raging, ecstatic, ecstasy-laced organism in a perpetual expression of orgasmic pleasure. I mean, come on, folks. If you had it all the time, it takes away its qualities of specialness. But once again, we have people. So why are you doing the Kundalini? Oh, it's the bliss. I had it and it came up. I had this spinal sleep, and oh my God, it felt so good. I just want to have that all the time. Really. That reminds me of a saying, and the saying is this: if the world were made of gold, then people would kill each other for a handful of dirt. If the world were made of gold, then people would kill each other for a handful of dirt. It reminds me of that. Okay, you've got to have you got to have the opposite of pleasure in order to have pleasure at all. got to have pain too. Anyway, so how fragile is the awakening that lands upon a certain plateau of grace, only to be destroyed by exterior challenge? How fragile is the equation of early activating individual when they want to experience bliss all the time, and they become focused on bliss, and they become focused on phenomena, and they forgot how important levels of forgiveness, truth, unconditional love, and service are to the equation. Oh my God! Well, that requires actions from the ego that the ego doesn't necessarily want to do. Ego wants the bliss. Ego wants the phenomena that shows them that yes, they are indeed a level of divine inculcation upon them, able to leap tall buildings faster than a speeding bullet. That comic book fantasy. And they forget about the levels of forgiveness, truth, honesty, unconditional love, patience, tolerance, are to the equation. It's very, very important for people to remember this. Our society is run on the ego all the time, 24/7. Our culture, our life expression, our social lives, our politics, our military, our schools, our religion, our likes and dislikes are all run on the ego, and it must be this way. It must be this way. This is of the design, okay? This is what helps you come out of the ego by recognizing what is of the ego, you see. And part of the reason why we're living the double life, the divine life and the egotistic life, is so that we can come out of one and go into the other, but we're able to discern the difference between one and the other. And the key to that discernment is to look at your behaviors and discern the fear of loss and the want of gain. Those are the tools that we use. That is the compass. That is the barometer. That is the map quest. That is the Google map that we can use to figure out how we are doing within our Kundalini. And so, and that's also the challenge. It's the challenge. The challenge to be within a world of ego and yet not to be of the ego. I'll say it again. That is the challenge. The challenge is to be within a world of ego and to not be of the ego. Okay. To be within a culture and a society that expands the judgment and the detriment of social stigma at the sacrifice of truth, honesty, clarity, and tolerance. That is the challenge, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you're being presented with Kundalini, and certainly within the Kundalini that comes through me in order to sharpen the edge of your experience within the Kundalini equation. And so I ask you, where do you stand in this equation? Where? Are you going? Are you still shooting the Chrism booger at your cat? I can totally understand. Where do you stand in this equation? How are you coming into balance within these areas of constant 24/7 ego infatuation? How are you handling this? Are you consciously recognizing it in your daily life? Are you constantly questioning yourself, hey, is this of my ego? What am I doing here? Why am I doing this? Why am I making this choice? Is it of the ego or is it not? Can you honestly say that it's not of the ego? Okay, because I think some of you can. How are you coming into balance with this? Can you find your balance in this ocean of ego self-aggrandizement at the expense of others? Can you do that? Well, let me give you a couple of hints about that. Okay. Can you take out your likes and dislikes of your culture, of the expressions of social inequity, political, military, schools, religions, likes, dislikes? Can you begin to reform how you feel about life in general? Your interactions of life, what you read on the internet, what you see on television, what you read in books and magazines and newspapers, if there are still any newspapers left. Okay. I'm giving this to you from the clarity of the Kundalini within me. I give to you freely that you may simply read and apply. See, now this is one of the problems. Okay. It's easy to simply read this and then forget it. Oh yeah, I read what you wrote, Chrism. It was nice. Kind of boring, but it was nice. You know, I read it. But, you know, I read it. So I read it. It's cool. It's good. It's all good. I really agree with it. But the question is, are you applying it? Are you applying it? That's the question. I want you all of you in the chat room, all of you listening on Facebook, all of you listening in the future, in the archives. I want you to ask that question. Am I applying these understandings? Or am I just reading it, hearing it, listening to it? Am I sleeping right now? Anyway, so here you go. In some circles of thought, people feel and believe that if you don't pay for something, then it's not worth anything. That you get what you pay for. And if you're not paying for it, you're not getting it. Okay? So I invite you to try to apply what these teachings that the Kundalini in me is suggesting for you to apply. I invite you to apply it freely, without charge. Apply them and see how easy it is to work these practices in your daily and nightly existence. This is the payment, ladies and gentlemen, not the money. It's your practice of these works. This is where you reach into your ego and your Kundalini, and you pay with the moderation or the modulation of your behaviors. You change the way you live your life. Open the wallet of your life and pay with these self-corrections. All right. Now I would like to take some of these questions, and I'll leave it to you, Amelia, to determine who is going to get there first. Or if you're busy, I'll do it myself. Here we go. Ishmael, hello Ishmael. Nice to have you on the program. How are you?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. What's your question, my friend?
Actually, if there was any women that had their hands up, they could have went in front of me. I could have waited.
I totally didn't get what you say. Say it again.
No, I was just saying that there was any ladies who had their hands up, they could have went in front of me.
Oh, that's nice of you. That's nice of you. But
yeah,
you're at the top of the list, and half of you is a lady. So.
Oh. Okay.
What's up, my friend?
Well, I kind of trying to get into a place where I could talk. I actually just kind of wanted to say, my experience, it seems like, is more sensitive, very sensitive on pretty much every aspect. As far as the pain that I feel, extremely sensitive to all my experiences. And actually, I had the amplification.
It's the amplification of your sensations that's brought about by the Kundalini. That's why it's extremely, extremely strong. Okay.
Okay.
The Kundalini increases your sensitivity 1,000-fold, and it's about the whole area of life. Your how you perceive people liking you or disliking you, how you perceive yourself liking or disliking other people. You'll feel the vibrations of their thoughts and their feelings. You'll feel that. You'll feel that they're saying one thing but feeling something quite different. You'll feel all these things because once again, one of the first things that comes to a Kundalini person is levels of emotional telepathy. Not necessarily reading the mind, but reading the heart. Reading the heart. And you'll feel the instant love and acceptance and friendship and happiness and joy and truth and honesty from people. But you'll also feel the opposite characteristics as well. And because our society lives so much by the ego and therefore by fear, a lot of people will express more of the suspicious qualities first before the loving and happy qualities. And it's kind of the idea of know what it is to be my enemy before you know what it is to be my friend. That kind of an attitude. And
right.
You'll feel that. You'll feel that from folks.
Yeah, I've been feeling a lot of different things. Well, I know, I'm not perfect, and I still have a lot that I need to work on. I kind of feel bad right now. I have a dog. She's very well trained, and she's been having some accidents, and I kind of gave her a nice, good whooping the other day, and I kind of feel bad about it. I think I could have approached it.
Can you take her to work with? Can you take her to work with you?
Oh, I would love to. No, I can't.
Why can't you? Is there a law?
Because
is there a rule that says you can't take the dog with you?
Or
are you just assuming that you can't take the dog with you?
I'm actually probably just assuming.
Yeah, you might want to try it because that's an action that is based on getting attention. She's attention deprived. And she knows if she pees on the floor or goes to the bathroom on the floor, she's going to get some attention. Why don't you try taking her to work with you?
That's crazy that you said it because she's very unique. It's kind of weird. I have a strange bond with her. I feel this connection with her that I've never felt with any of my other animals.
She's probably your Shakti animal. I mean, the Shakti will come to you as an animal in order to increase levels of love, compassion, respect, kindness, consideration. To amplify these levels of grace within you, these animals are brought into our life. I had, Tika was a great one for that. So loving, so beautiful, so deeply understanding. I mean, you can see the intellect. And Lasha is another one. Lasha, she sleeps with me every night, and she totally understands me, and she is a great teacher in and of herself, and so is Anara. And so because of the Kundalini, and I understand that the levels of amplification and the levels of barriers that society puts on creatures that they consider like dumb animals, that type of a thing. Well, I step over those barriers. I'll take this ginormous German Shepherd, slightly trained dog, and she'll shop with me at the supermarket. She'll shop with me at the hardware store, and I'll take her in the store. I do not leave her in the car unless I have to. And I brought both of them when I had Tika and Anara together, and I'd bring them into the restaurant. And they'd sit there by the table, and people come up and serve, and I include them in everything as much as I possibly can. Lasha's not so directed that way. She owns the place, and so she comes and goes when she wants. But the dog, they come with me into the post office, everywhere that I can take them. I take them, and I'll even take the initiative. If they ask me to take the dog out, fine. Nobody has yet.
Wow.
Nobody has yet. Yeah. So I invite you to also participate with your Shakti animal in that way and really give her the love and the attention and the inclusion that she is telling you right now that she needs. She's going, Dad, I need to be included. I need to be in your life as much as possible. And I don't care if you got to take a break and have her go out and pee or poop or whatever. That's fine. That's fine. But she needs to be with you. She needs to be with
Yeah,
you.
I honestly feel a strong connection. It's totally where I have a cat too, and every time I come home, they just want to be up under me. They don't want to be anywhere, and yeah, it's very weird.
It's not weird.
But,
it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I feel like it's good. Yeah, it's a good thing. I have like two more quick questions.
Sure.
I kind of
Go ahead.
I'm not really trying to boost my ego or anything, but just trying to look more so understanding how you kind of broke it down to me, how I was, explaining to you about my back pain and how you was telling me it's the feminine that goes down the left leg. More so is what I'm trying to understand in regards to, this question. Just had a birthday recently. It was actually on the 20th. And me and my daughter's mom, the one that I had told you that me and her were kind of not seeing eye to eye. She had a lot of anger issues and we've always been bumping heads. Well, we kind of been on good terms. Everything's been going good. She's, I kind of explained to her. She's very open-minded to understanding what I'm going through. And everything's just been really, I've just been seeing a big change in our relationship now, which is really, really beautiful.
You can thank your Shakti for that. You can thank your Kundalini for that. Seriously.
Yeah, I appreciate her. Yeah, definitely. I mean, she's really making things happen in my life, and I really see it. A lot of things I'm not understanding. That's why, I kind of ask questions to kind of have a better understanding of what's going on.
Well, it's good. It's good. You ask the questions, and the answers help many, many others besides yourself. So you're giving people a service by even asking the question.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody else's, experiences that helps me understand what, I'm going through. We were into, we had sex. And very strange. I've noticed that I've been able to kind of give off a sensation that I want, very intense sensation that I want the other partner to feel. Well, this moment was totally very spiritual. She brought it to my attention, which I felt it, but I didn't say anything to her about it. Was very kind of weird to me, not my normal, more sensitive, more in tune, more.
It wasn't your ego, let's get the ejaculation going. It wasn't about that. No,
no.
This is far more. This is sacred. This is sacred sex, is what this is.
Yes,
and
that's what it felt.
It's really cool that she noticed it, because I have a feeling that relationship that's been difficult up to this point is going to change its frequency and change its vibration. And you may be able to have levels of reconciliation begin to occur between you and her.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
Yeah. I'm actually excited. I'm very excited. It seems different. She's apologizing that she wished that she could have been more open-minded, before and more.
And it's a great opportunity for you to say the same thing back to her, and to really begin to do what I've been talking about earlier in this program, to really begin to expand your grace and to find your levels of self-correction. It doesn't mean that you capitulate to every little want and egotism that she displays, but what it does mean is that you're able to see which ones are okay or not such a big deal, and to give her the level of respect and kindness and understanding and compassion that she needs in order to further her own grace. Because here's the deal. She's inside your energetic halo radiance. And especially as you guys are having sacred sex, she is participating in that radiance in a very, very deep and profound way, which is why she's all of a sudden, apologizing for being this way or that way. And she noticed it. She says, oh, my God, that was like a spiritual experience, blah, 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 right?
Yes, yeah.
And that's because it is. It's affecting her on deep spiritual levels. And I'm going to suggest you begin to enhance that and to amplify that and to really move in that direction. Not only is Shakti moving you towards, say, being more inclusive in your relationship with your dog and your life and taking that dog with you, but she's also moving you in the direction of being more what's the word? More inclusive and more forgiving and have more gratitude to the Shakti and to this woman in your life, the mother of your child, to really begin to include her, but in a different mindset, in a less competitive environment,
mm-hmm.
in a more patient, tolerant, kind, compassionate environment, where communication of love is the most important thing. Communication of desires, not as much. Desires, i.e., fear of loss, want of gain type of thing, right?
Yes. And I think I can kind of see myself, that's how I was before with her, was more so on that type of level and not really appreciating, more of the values now of, communicating first and instead of just valuing her for who she, how she appears and my likes about her, instead of just, yeah,
well, let me give you a hint there. Let me give you a hint about that. I mean, no matter how she looks, she should always be beautiful to you.
Right.
So.
Well, I've never really been the type of person that always go off of looks. I've always, been the type of person. It's just something about her. I think I've kind of fell off more of, the communication, because we always had communication problems in the past, and I think it kind of strayed more towards the looks. And I've never really been the type of person that always went off looks. It's more so your heart, your personality. So I kind of want to go back to.
Now I'm gonna invite you to look at a poem or a prayer by Saint Francis of Assisi. He's an 11th century saint, and let's see if I can find it here real quick. Let's see, Saint Francis of Assisi. There we go, and in the prayer here. And this should be very, very helpful for your relationship. And here it is. Take this as you feel guided by your Kundalini to take it. Okay. So it's coming in right now here. It says, "Okay, Lord, make me an instrument of Thy peace. Where there is hatred, may I bring love. Where there is wrong, may I bring the spirit of forgiveness. Where there is discord, may I bring harmony. Where there is error, may I bring truth. Where there is doubt, may I bring faith. Where there is despair, may I bring hope. Where there are shadows, may I bring light. Where there is sadness, may I bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted, to understand rather than to be understood, to love rather than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds, and it is by forgiving that one is forgiven. And it is by dying, and I'm going to add to the ego, that one awakens to eternal life." Okay.
That's beautiful.
And he had the Kundalini, and this is what you have, Ishmael. You have what he had. You have right now what caused him to write that prayer. You have it. You are Saint Ishmael. And I'm inviting you. I'm inviting you to really understand and die to the old life, so to speak, and bloom and come into the new person that is in production right now. In other words, your root system has been growing, and now the great tree that you are, the enlightened tree that you are, has peaked itself above the soil and is drinking from the rays of the divine sun. Okay? And so now you're in direct contact with divinity, and divinity is in direct contact with you. And you are starting to provide the ground and the soil for this woman in your life to begin to nourish her soul and to begin to see the light and life that you provide, the light of love that you provide for her in her life. And why not have mom and dad living together for your child's sake, but also for the sake of love, for the sake of love. I mean, let your child see obvious moments of love and compassion between their mother and their father, not just in the bedroom.
Right.
Start bringing her flowers. Yeah.
I
Valentine's Day is coming up. Valentine's Day is coming up. Maybe a little reunion there.
No.
The thought. I'm just planting seeds here.
I'm taking a word for word.
Okay.
I appreciate it, Chrism. I have one more quick. I kind of, I guess, trying to understand something. I know that you said marijuana is not really, preferable, but I've noticed when I do smoke a little marijuana, and I really kind of don't do it for the recreation. Sometimes I do, sometimes I really don't. Kind of do it to kind of relax and just it helps me relax more so. But what I'm able to kind of be able to do when I am is kind of meditate more so, tune on a sensitive level to where, like, it's like the Matrix to me. It's like I have a water tank, a fish tank, and the water falls. I can really tune myself on the vibration of the waterfall, and I can actually feel the vibration within my body. It's like I can.
Well, you don't need marijuana to feel those things. It just makes it easier.
Okay, right.
Once again, we're going into levels of complacency. Mm-hmm. Instead of calming myself through changing my breathing patterns or giving devotion to the Kundalini, instead of doing that, I'm going to puff on this joint or take this bong head, and I'm going to have that done for me by virtue of the plant. Well, what I'm going to suggest is you do it in a way that just invites it through your own body's ability, your own mindfulness ability to control I don't want you to use the marijuana as a crutch. Now, let me go ahead and talk a little bit about this. Plenty of people, come to me and they have received an activation of the Kundalini by virtue of, like you say, meditating with marijuana or even I, when I was way early in my thing, I had some marijuana and I was looking at the color red, and the red reached right in through my eye and into my soul and just really, woke me up in certain ways. And so I'm not against marijuana at all. I'm just against people using it as a crutch. I'm against people becoming addicted. And I don't care what the scientists or what the aficionados of marijuana culture say. Marijuana is addictive, and it's addictive to the ego because you can just do something really easy and achieve some sort of a state. But it's with constant usage, it's literally drilling holes into your frontal cortex.
Seem like it's damaging on other ends, but it's helping you on other ends,
absolutely.
Which I can agree, because it makes it more easier for me to kind of tap into other frequencies and pick up on frequencies like Moham has said. When you do your tongue and your fingertips, I can feel it when I'm under the influence of marijuana. very easy, tune in so quick like nothing, but I can't do it as easy when I'm not under the influence.
It's not as easy, but you can do it. And the more you do it without the assistance of marijuana, the better things are, because then you can click into it anytime, and you can begin, and this begins a very conscious, intentional relationship with the divine within you, because no longer are you depending upon the marijuana in order to carry you forward. Well, now you're tapping directly into the divine, and it will carry you forward.
Yeah. I have one more quick question. Just as far as body aches and weakness, is there anything that helps with that, or is there any meaning behind
Massage can help with that. If you can get a massage every now and again, that can help. Certain types of yoga, I forget, maybe somebody can add on the chat room there. It's the type of yoga where you hold the pose really long, like you hold it for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then you do 3 or 4 minutes one side, 3 or 4 minutes the other side, and in addition to that, I would add the mantra, whatever mantra that. If I've given you a mantra, then I would add the mantra to that position as well. But it's about deep breathing. Deep breathing.
Okay.
Yeah, taking it step by step, and not using marijuana with this, but just really taking it deep, 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 and letting the breath release a blockage in a certain muscle group. The Kundalini, I think I've mentioned this to you, I'm not sure, but the Kundalini, because it is so powerful, it will automatically squeeze and excite specific muscle groups in a way that causes constant tension in your body. This is one of the reasons why the blood pressure in Kundalini people can go so high, is because they've got certain muscle groups, like in your shoulders, in your back, in your legs, in your pelvis, that are constantly tightened, that are constantly in a state of tension. And this can form pain. This forms pain in an individual. And so, as I said, massage can help. Like Amelia. Amelia is this massage artist, and she's got, the Kundalini in her fingertips, right? And so she can go in there, and she can really, really, loosen up those blockages. She won't get rid of it, because if the Kundalini wants you to have that blockage, then it'll come right back. But she can give a person relief for it.
Right.
And I think, let me see if she can speak to that. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I'm dealing with a lot of aches and weakness.
Am I on?
You're on.
Oh, I'm gone again. Oh, I'm on. Okay, we've a lot of people on the phones today, so I'm down at the bottom, I see. Yeah, so the massage, this is very true, actually. It really can be very, very helpful. But the Kundalini runs the show, Ishmael, So if you've got those blockages and it is coming from the Kundalini, I agree, you may receive some relief, but it is on her say-so. And it can be really good, but they will go when the time is right for them to go, But it is worth having a massage. And actually having a massage as well, especially if it's, if somebody has Kundalini and they're giving you a massage with the Kundalini, not the ego, being present in the massage, it can be really helpful to allow yourself to open yourself up to what the Kundalini is doing and the different bodies of expression, and it can actually help as well with just some resistances that can be going on, or so I have discovered anyway.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I agree. I think that it can help you, and it can really break things up a little bit. But as Santara said, the Kundalini can jump right back into that muscle group and super tighten it again. And so basically it's a surrender to the Kundalini that needs to occur. And you can also adjust this through meditation. And I know, people's eyes glaze over when I say meditation. It's just like, oh, yeah, right, okay, meditation. It really will work. It really, really, really will work. And as you do the meditations, you do a silent meditation or even a mantra meditation, it will begin to loosen up blocks in your back and in the lower spine. It will loosen it up.
Okay.
And I was just reading the chat room just now, and I see Fashji left because he heard a word that was most unpleasant, and so I want to apologize to him. I'm sure it had to do with some of the racial things I was talking about earlier. But that is a part of the reality we have in this world, and so I want to extend my apologies. But it is the way some communities within our society think, and certainly some of the ones that I was mentioning. So my apologies to anybody that may have been offended by those words. And I hope you weren't offended, Ishmael.
No, I wasn't. And I apologize if I offended anybody with my words.
Okay, all right. So thank you.
Hey, Chrism,
and I want to thank you.
I would like to thank you.
I want to thank you for asking these questions because you've asked a lot of questions, and they're all good questions. And I want to really, send blessings to you and the woman that you love, the mother of your children. And I really am serious about the flowers and the Valentines and the whole bit. And why not continue that relationship on a different footing?
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you, Master Chrism.
All right, my friend, I'm going to put you into the Shiva Blue. Here we go. And I am going to, looks like we may have more here. I don't know. Okay, here we are. And coming into Indra with a question. Hello,
Hi,
Indra.
Chrism.
Welcome to the program. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you.
Good.
What's your question, my dear?
So, I never got away with the ego with Shakti. If I had a situation where I put the ego in,
Yes, you have.
I would have painful live stuff to teach me,
you
different. So I don't think I got away with the ego, Chrism.
You did, my dear. I already know you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all do. No, Indra,
right.
You're not hearing me. You got away with the ego.
You think I got away with the ego?
Yes, you did. Absolutely.
What do you mean?
Just not in the antagonistic way.
Yes.
But you got away with it in other areas.
Yeah, I learned quickly that the ego was going to cause me pain.
Right.
And it's going to be a painful Kundalini experience.
Your recent experience in romance is an example of having an ego, kind of an ego weight dropped upon you.
Right. Do you think so?
She lets you get away with it for a little while, and then she'll pull the rug out from under your feet.
Yeah, well, she did, because then I found out he was a high-functioning alcoholic, and there was a price to it. So I pretty much had to pull back, and I had to let the guy, which,
right.
I just had to leave things in her hands. That's where it is now.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Maybe he needs the space to work on that part of his life.
Exactly. And usually I'll be reacting, I'll be texting. And, Chrism, there was no reaction, there was no texting, there was no asking why not, do this, do that. I just let it be.
I understand, and that was a good move.
Yeah. So I think there is, and you can help me with this, there is an emotional maturity and there is emotional control And I'm finding this in a lot of situations.
Well, see, that's here's an equation for you. The person who loves the least in a relationship controls the relationship.
Wow.
Now that's in a more of a mundane standpoint. In a Kundalini world, yes.
Right.
In the Kundalini world, the person who loves with the most compassion and most forgiveness within the relationship controls the relationship.
The one with the most compassion and love.
And forgiveness.
Right.
Because here's the thing. With forgiveness, if you're forgiving enough, you can never really be hurt.
Exactly. And I don't feel my friends are asking me that they are reacting for me. And I'm going, well, I don't have the desire inside of me. I cannot generate anger. I cannot generate hate. I cannot generate a reaction. What am I supposed to do? This is where I am at.
Well, what you're supposed to do is just be forgiving, and it's always such a dance, really.
Yep.
The relationships, because
I'm numb. I'm numb to.
Well,
I'm not hurt.
Yeah,
I'm not even hurt.
I know what you're saying, but it's like with other people, when you're inside of a relationship, you have to know where to give and where not to give.
Right.
You see, now with the gentleman, the functioning, the high functioning alcoholic, know that you cannot give in to that. You cannot say, oh well, it's just okay. He's high functioning.
No, I didn't. I honestly didn't. I pulled back, and with all my sexual energy, I was like burning up with sexual energy. And I could have called him, but I just ride it out, right? I did not give in.
Right. So this was the appropriate thing to do. And it's the same thing with Ishmael and with you. Your Kundalini is going to help you discern what is appropriate and what is not.
Right.
The Kundalini will compel a certain level of discipline upon you. And so you've got to be constantly checking with Kundalini. You could even ask, in your inner dialogue, Kundalini, my mother Kundalini, Shakti Kundalini, Kundalini in me, however you want to phrase it. Is it appropriate to allow this type of treatment, or is it appropriate to allow this type of behavior? Can I forgive this, or should I stand firm on this? I mean, she will help you discern what is the best behavior.
I did pull back, and I did dream. I did, Chrism, he called me a certain name. And to me, I work hard on myself with Kundalini. I constantly ground. In the dead winter, I was out there jogging and running and walking and meditating, deep breathing, and I put in a lot of work in myself with Kundalini. And I don't name call people, and I didn't accept that either. So the thing is,
good. That's good.
I pulled back. And I had a dream. She gave me a dream. And I saw where he truly loved me. Right?
You saw what?
Where he truly loved me. That was a dream.
Okay.
And
all right.
even if I dream that, it's in her hands. I'll go with her beat because.
Absolutely.
Pardon me?
Yes, you're right.
I'm going with her beat, the beat of her drum, because however it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I'm deeper. I told you, into isolation. I got laid off a week and a half ago. I'm in my isolation. My Kundalini energy. This was my main question. I have been going through Kundalini for the last month. Things seem calm and smooth. I'm living in a state of drunkenness, but I'm functioning.
Are you a functioning drunk? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm drunk. Naturally, I'm drunk. Like in the past, if I had to cook, it would be hard for me to cook. I'm drunk, but my energy calmed down. It's smooth, and it's to a point where I can function and do everything. Do you think I hit a balance?
I think there's always more balance to be achieved, and so I want you to continue to ask your Shakti, what is the appropriate behavior, and I want you to really discern what level of fear of loss and want of gain that you're making.
What
your
level of
choices
what?
by.
Say that again.
Fear of loss and want of gain.
Because I lost everything that I could have lost.
No,
All
there's
right.
more to lose. Believe me, no. I don't believe that one bit.
Okay.
You still have a home?
Yes.
You have clothing?
Yes.
You still have enough to eat?
Yes.
Then you haven't lost everything.
Okay, well, I should say a lot of doors closed for me, Chrism. A lot of doors closed. There was
I understand that. I'll accept that.
Yeah, there was a lot of doors that did close, and I it wasn't easy. But at this point in Kundalini, I now appreciate those doors closing.
Well, I understand.
All right.
I understand.
It's only now, when I look back, I can see those doors needed to be closed.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, retrospect. When you look back in retrospect, you can. I just had I had a student coming to me and wanting to commit suicide this past week. And they kept telling me, how harsh the Shakti is, how the Shakti hates them, and how this is just not acceptable, and that suicide is the much better option.
Wow.
And it's and my Kundalini stepped in and counseled that person, and basically opened a pathway for them to really review. And a few days later, in retrospect, the person said, wow, I was really burning up there, and I apologize for saying what I said. And I said, no, it's okay. But it's that retrospective that really helps anybody learn what is truly important. And sometimes you've got to suffer. Sometimes the egocentrism can be so strong that it colors your ability to really manifest an understanding of why that pain is occurring, and how in the Kundalini sense you just need to surrender your expectations about how things should be.
You only see it in hindsight.
Yeah. Right.
When I look back from where I am right now, and I can see that in a relationship, I'm not reacting. I made a decision. I stuck by it. I put it in Shakti's hands. I'm not hurt. I'm not sweating it. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm grounding like crazy. It's only when I've seen those changes, I realize all that I've been through had to take place.
Wait a second there. Wait a second. Just a second. Say again?
I said that when I went through this issue.
I got to get the sound back here.
Okay.
Got to dive into the studio here. Just a second, my dear. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I realized that I'm not reacting in relationship, when I realized I was getting a level of emotional maturity, I'm not reacting, I'm not going crazy, I'm grounding, I'm functioning, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, despite having problems in relationship, despite losing my job, getting laid off. When I see the growth from 4 years ago, I look back and I realize I had to go through all that pain to get here.
Oh, right, for sure. For sure. That's right.
It's then I have really truly have gratitude for everything the Kundalini's put me through, because from where I stand now.
Often you can't see that during the pain. And this is where we lose some people. We lose some people to suicide because, the burning can be so strong, or the electrocution can be so strong. The physical manifestations or even the emotional manifestations can be so strong, and the amplification of the ego can be so detrimental to that person's identity, self-identity, that they just they'll jump off the bridge. It
was hard. I wanted to commit suicide. I planned the whole thing. So from all that, from where I stand now, there's been a lot of transformation, and I feel like it's only now I'm able to reap those benefits.
Right. In retrospective is really, really helpful. Am I echoing? Is there an echo here?
Yes, you are.
What?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Let's see what I can do. Just a second. How about now?
No, you're pretty good now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You're not.
Indra?
You're okay.
Yes. I can hear you, Chrism. Hi.
Indra, are you there?
Hi, Chrism.
No, I'm not hearing you at all. Speakers are at 100%.
Chrism, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Chrism. Okay, well, we can hear you fine. So
I can hear him.
Can't hear Indra? Can you hear Indra?
Can you hear me now? Hang on.
I can hear you. Yes.
You can hear me?
We can hear you all the time.
I can hear you plain.
But am I echoing?
Not anymore.
No.
No echo. Okay. Well, that's a good thing.
Right.
Okay. Well, Indra, was I able to answer your question sufficiently?
You was able to, but I have one quick question. Okay, so you know how the usual Kundalini comes through from the bottom of your feet and it goes through the crown, right?
Okay.
I noticed that energy is pushing down in my crown now. Instead of the usual going through my crown, it's pushing down on my crown.
Oh, that's the apana. That's the apana energy. That's okay. Let that go. That's good. That's the sacred male coming in from the top of the crown and pushing down.
And it pushes down.
Right. This is where people, when they do drugs or something like that, they get that downflow, and this is the downflow of the energy. Now you've already had from the bottom to the top, and so now the natural aspect of the Kundalini will come. The sacred male Shiva will come from the top down to the bottom. This is very good. This is a good phenomena.
Right.
Healthy.
Okay, so that's my question. You answered everything. Thank you.
You're very welcome, my dear. And once again, I mean, the questions that have been asked there are really, really good questions. So thank you, Indra.
Thank you, and I'll continue to listen to the show.
Okay, very good. Put you in the blue, the Shiva blue, which is coming into you naturally. And I'm coming over to our resident Mother Superior, her angelic holiness, her nun of nuns, the nun, N-O-N-E, of nuns, N-U-N-S. Hi, Rosemary.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. And I pressed the one key on my phone a little while ago, as you were mentioning about the kind of yoga where you have long pauses.
Yes.
I know what that is, and I can tell you a little bit about it.
Go ahead.
It's called restorative yoga, and it is you're propping up different parts of your body and for longer pauses, like 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes, and there's lots of them that they get used, and with the pillows and other things, and they're provided there. And the way it works is that when there is no action in our bodies, the toxins that are at the joints come out of there. And that's where they go when they're building up in there. And
okay.
I go every Sunday night. It's an hour and 15 minutes. It takes a little longer for things. And the reason I did, the first time that I went, and that's several years ago, I had a mindfulness that was there with me from Sunday till Tuesday. And I haven't had that profound of a response since, but it took me back. And I know that really does contribute to our way of life.
I get it. Thank you, dear.
Yeah, it fits exactly, as something that you had offered somebody. It's yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, my dear. This is really good. I do suggest restorative yoga with specific breathings, and certainly with a mantra. I think that would also be very helpful. But thank you, Rosemary, for explaining that to us.
Yes, and if you, in terms of our mantra, like it could be, you could do that. I didn't think of doing it, but I will try that next time.
Yeah,
something particular.
Start doing it.
Yes, quietly, because it's total quiet. So,
okay.
But for myself, yes, thank you.
Welcome. And I'm going to flip the switch on over to Miss Santara and put you in the Shakti Red. Do you have any questions from the groups?
I do. I have some questions that were sent into Chrism. And there was one for last week that I didn't ask.
Has the whole show been, have I been echoing throughout the whole show?
No, you had a tiny, did you read that? You were echoing for like the count of 20, and that was the end of it. Even when Indra said you actually sounded okay. I couldn't hear an echo then, and I don't.
My headphones off, and I can hardly hear now, because I think the connection. Let me put them back in.
Put them back on and let's check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, let me do this right now because it's helpful to hear your questions.
Yeah.
Just a second.
Okay, so Andrew, stand by, Andrew. If Chrism starts echoing, let us know there on the chat room, will you please? You're our resident director, I think, of operations there. You're and letting us know. So that would be really cool, Andrew, if when Chrism begins to speak, he echoes.
Hi.
Thanks, Andrew.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
So you're hearing it fine, right, Amelia?
Yeah, and Andrew now is going to let us know as well.
Yeah, he's saying laughing out loud for the moment.
Yeah, no, so, I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine, Chrism. As long as it's good.
So no echo.
No. Stop.
So Andrew,
Chrism,
everyone for putting up with that. Go ahead and send us out the first question if you have some, Santara.
Okay, so I will. So there was a question from last week that Shaktipat sent in, and I'm going to just read it out now. It says, "It is said one should give healing to Mother Earth. Why not to present, past, and future cosmos?"
Repeat the question.
It is said one should give healing to Mother Earth. Why not to whole present, past, and future cosmos? I'm not understanding that, but that's just me, probably.
No, I kind of get it.
Okay, cool.
Well, I don't think anything's wrong with giving healing to the cosmos. I don't think giving healing to the past is a worthy pursuit, because I think the past has had to occur the way it did, and specific learnings. It's like I mentioned earlier. Without pain, you don't have pleasure, and so without sickness, you don't have healing. So we have to within this duality, we have to learn how to find our balance between the two poles of distinction, and to really mitigate. It's weird. This image just came to me just now as I was saying that. It's just like what Shakti is trying to say is that you have these extreme poles of let's just say illness and health. And what you're to do within a Kundalini continuum is to use those two extremities, those two poles, as the base of a triangle. And at the top of the triangle, the balance point within the divine. And so you add another dimension of interaction because of the Kundalini. Once again, the Kundalini puts us into two worlds at the same time. We're not monodimensional within the Kundalini. The tip of the pyramid, or the top of the pyramid, is in the divine realm. And so we find our balance point within divine immersion. And that is where we determine whether a healing needs to be given or not, or whether we come into it from the balance point of the tip of the pyramid, or the tip of the triangle, which is inside the divine dimension. And this is where we begin to look and to receive levels of wisdom that correspond to the question that we're confronted with. That came straight from the Kundalini. You could almost hear it in the parsing of my words.
Thank you, Chrism. Can I ask a question about that? Not about that, but something that came. He said, one should give healing to Mother Earth. Sometimes, I hear people talking about Mother Earth dying and all of that, and I think, no, Mother Earth isn't dying. What is it about healing?
There's a lot of hubris. There's a lot of hubris about that. But no, Mother Earth is not dying, and humanity is allowed to use this earth as a classroom of divine attainment. And it's through all the redemption of karma, not only with individuals, but with populations. Like, let's just use Germany. Throughout the whole 1940s and 1930s, Nazism was on the rise. A lot of negative stuff was happening there, and so those people that were alive at that time had, developed a level of karma that will need to be faced, and the earth is where they're going to face that karma. That's where the karma was made. And so populations need to have the availability of this earth in order to redeem the karma that they've created. Mother Earth is completely capable of doing this. Mother Earth could wipe us out in a nanosecond just by beginning to manipulate viruses that already exist in our body. So she is not some helpless life form, just laying around going, I need humanity to heal me or I'm going to die. No, that is not the case at all. That's, once again, that is hubris of humanity, thinking that it is so great and so powerful that it needs to give the earth a healing. What I think would be a better way of stating that would be that we need to stop abusing that gift that we've been given by being on this world. We need to stop abusing it. We need to begin to understand how our actions and our intentions and our grace and our love can be given to the sacred Mother Earth that we live on, without thinking that we need to heal her of every cut and wound. It's like the child biting the breasts of the mother. Okay? You know, kids do that, right? Right, Amelia?
Absolutely. Yes.
It's the same thing. Ouch. Damn.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't allow yourself to fall into that level of egotism, basically. You know, it's just, you know, I had a friend of mine, you know, and he was, you know, fairly spiritually evolved, you know, not with the Kundalini so much, but definitely within, you know, a Native Americanism and things of that nature. And he was trying to heal all the people on the world at the same time. He was running them through his chakras. Big mistake. I mean, he was killed, literally killed, in that type of an ideology. It is not a smart move. People need to have the freedom. If you have any kind of, you know, power, you're depriving people of their ability to have and to make karma and to redeem karma. And it's the same thing with the people and, you know, healing the Mother Earth. We need to heal ourselves, and by healing ourselves, we heal the Mother. By healing ourselves, we develop the Kundalini, and by developing our ability to receive Kundalini, we heal. We stop biting the breast of the Mother. Okay. And so this is how I see that.
Thank you, Chrism. I'm glad I asked that question. Yeah. Okay, so moving on. This is from Shrikant as well, and he's been asked by a few ladies to teach meditation. And he says, should I teach them 5 Tibetans, alternative nostril breathing, single nostril breathing with japa, of mantra to their liking, concentration, and what else?
Can you repeat the question?
I can. He has been asked by a few ladies to teach them meditation. So should he teach them 5 Tibetans, alternative nostril breathing, single nostril breathing, japa of mantra of their liking, concentration, and what else?
Just teach them the mantra. Well, see, I'm not giving them the mantra. Teach them to this mantra: I am at one with the all that I am, and let them recite that mantra every day for about 21 minutes. That is all. Don't teach them the 5 Tibetans unless he knows that, and they know that they are prepared to open the Kundalini. That's important for people to understand. If they just came to him for meditation, then just do the I am at one with the all that I am mantra, and to sit, you know, on the edge of a chair or in an easy pose, or if they can do lotus, you know, whatever, to sit in a proper position, say the mantra for 21 minutes every day. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. What is the difference between ordinary dreams and the dream of a Kundalini active person?
The dream life of a Kundalini active person will be dominated by the Kundalini, no matter what the person sees. It's the level of discernment of the dreamer, or where the Kundalini suggests they get their information, that will determine the level of understanding that person will have with the dream. Over.
Is Kundalini the fastest way to enlightenment?
It's fast. Usually I answer death is the fastest way. But if you're not, excited about that option, I'll have to say yes. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Over.
Okay, I'm just need to put this down. Okay, so going on to the groups then, Chrism. What is the big hype about the full moon and its effect on humans and planetary energy? Does it have anything to do with ascension and Kundalini in any way at all? And I think it was Indra actually asked that on the groups.
Okay, yeah. Well, the moon has the effect on the tides. And so because we are of this world, the moon will have the effect on the tidal flows within us. The moon is essentially seen as the sacred feminine, and when the moon is full, the tides are affected, and so we can have some effect from the tidal, the gravitational pull that a full moon will have on this world. But it's not to the point where they're taking it way beyond. They want something to happen because of the full moon and the eclipse and the blood moon and the blue moon. So we had a blue blood moon today because it's a blue moon, which is an extra full moon during the month. And we had a blood moon because there's an eclipse, I guess. And so, oh, geez, it's saying I've got 90 seconds left. So to cut the answer short, not so much. Yeah, mine just said 90 seconds to me.
Mine says 4 minutes. So, okay.
So, yeah, I'm going to get cut off in like less than 90 seconds now. So I just want to say thank you, Amelia, for putting this show and allowing the show to continue. Thank you, everybody in the archives, everybody in the chat room, everybody everywhere, for listening to this program. Thank you for all the questioners. Now I'm saying 60 seconds. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for listening to this program. And I will see you same time next week. Thank you, everyone. Here we go.
Ausgefeilte Technik, komfortable Bedienung, perfekte Hitze und vor allem 100% echter Grillgeschmack. Das alles macht Weber Gasgrills zu wahren Champions. Kaufe bis zum 19. Mai deinen Gasgrill von Weber und du bekommst ein Weber Grill Champion Shirt mit deinem Namen gratis dazu. Nur bei teilnehmenden Händlern. Mehr auf weber.com. Weber for life.